Next speaker has over 15 years of experience in marketing. He worked in companies like Accenture, Max New York, and he's one of our ideal customers. He's taken some bold steps like launching a brand entirely online first and then followed through with some of his offline marketing initiatives. So it'll be wonderful to learn from his experience. Please welcome Anurag Mehrotra, VP Marketing for Ford India.
All right. Wow, that's like a lot of people. Kati, I don't know if you know, you shared the data about shorter men and taller people, individuals. There's actually a study which has been done which goes forward from that premise and proves that the presidents of the United States have all been tall people. All right. So great. It's great to be here. It's always nice to present some of our learnings. Quite honestly, the session is called Marketing Masters, but I can tell you very frankly, we are groping in the dark. We are doing some things which probably are working. We are trying to find other ways of making sure that we engage with the brand. So here's how I'm going to start, right? I'm going to share a couple of, much like Kati and Viral have done, I'm going to share a couple of trends which are shaping our thinking, really. Get on to some case examples, share some results, and finally leave you with some thoughts to think about. This is a photograph of my daughter, right? She's 10 years old. An adorable child, even if I say so. She's brilliant, right? Her typical day when she comes back from school is she'll get home, throw the bags around, probably do some homework, go down to play, come back, have dinner, and by about 8:39 she's off to sleep. A year or so back, we noticed something strange happen. I came into the house, I saw that she was watching TV, and I said, it's well past 9, what are you doing? And she said, you can't touch the remote now. I'm watching something and you can't touch the remote. So, okay, I watched this for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and it went on and on and on. And the program that she was watching, if any of you guess it right, I'll give you a Ford car. All right? It was MasterChef. Come on, okay? He funds many of ours, actually. So she was watching MasterChef India, right? And occasionally she would go and also watch MasterChef Australia. I said, you're 10 years old. There's something called Cartoon Network, Pogo. I mean, why are you not watching that? And you start to think about it, right? You say, what's happening to this generation? And you start to peel the onion, and it tells you that on a more serious note, reality television is really something big that's hitting all of us. More people watch reality television today than they watch news. I mean, that's the fact of life. In a span of only 5 or 6 years, it's changed the demographics and the watching behavior of people in the country. Well, if it's only on the television or the print side, guess what? It's actually manifesting itself even on the digital platform. 5 of the top 10 websites today are user-generated. I mean, it's really telling you that once people get the power, they taste the fact that they can create, they can shape, they want more of it. So all the media planners sitting here, please take note that the control that you've got, or we as marketers believe we have control over the message, that control is actually gone. What kind of brings home the point again is if you look at some of the cover stories of different magazines, right? I've picked up Outlook here. There is a shift. The sheer number of cover stories today being done on common people, reality-based people, is more than what it was a couple of years back. Much, much more. I don't know how many of you remember, the 2007 Time magazine had a cover. And the cover was about the person of the year. And the person of the year was you, right? It was about a consumer, about real people who are far more connected today, far more engaged today, they are creating far more than they did ever before. over the last a day or so, and even tomorrow, you'll get tons of data thrown at you. The one that really stands out for me in this slide is the fact that half of you in this room today are more likely to speak online than you're going to speak to the person sitting next to you. Right? That talks about the behavior that we as human beings are actually going through. What it also tells you is, and nothing new in that. I mean, if you go back and think about the birth of the civilization, I mean, what differentiates us from animals is our ability to use language, right? Kati spoke about the sheer number of years that have gone by since business actually started getting done. But the fact of the matter is, it's been, civilization was formed or established on the premise that people could actually communicate complex ideas. So nothing untoward in terms of what's really happening now. It's just that people have got an avenue to be able to share their experiences. Right? Another startling data point, just the first one, I won't spend time on the other two or three. The first one is staggering. 3 out of 4 people are more likely to trust the opinions that they hear on the social media sites rather than what they watch on television. I mean, absolutely staggering data. I mean, if you go back, and this is the kind of stuff which is shaping the grammar that we are forming in our communication. Internet, Viral spoke a lot about this. The one that's really, the one that we are betting aggressively on is the mobile platform. 150 million people today in India actually access the internet through the mobile phone. You know how many percentage of people actually searched for a restaurant on Valentine's Day on their mobile phone? 62%. I mean, the sheer penetration of mobile phones in India is going to be something that all of us, whether it be marketers or media planners from the agency, have really got to think hard on. If you don't have a mobile strategy, get one. All right, if I bring it closer home, when you look at the automobile industry, when you look at what are the sources of information and you look at what is the influence that those sources really have, 59% of the people actually say, or the amount of emphasis that is laid on people of your friends and family and the word of mouth becomes extremely critical in their purchase behavior. Look at where television or where radio actually sits. And that really drives some of the decisions that we take when we are sitting down with a media plan with our agency. So when you kind of put all these trends together, what does it tell you? It tells you people want to co-create. Bring me in. That's what they're telling you. I mean, I don't know how many of you actually listen to rock music. There's a very famous British rock band called Coldplay, and there's a famous line in their song which says, "Give me real, don't give me fake." So consumers want to actually co-create with you. If you thought that you are controlling the message as a marketer, believe you me, that's not true at all. And finally, the third thing that we've learned is that customers are very cynical of manufacturers' speak. They are more likely to believe what they hear from their peers than what they are likely to see from the manufacturers. So what we did was we went back and we said, we are an automobile company. So we said we will actually give our cars to consumers, let them experience the car. Once they have experienced the car, let them express that experience in their own words, rather than us telling them how they should experience the vehicle. What is the expression that you should communicate when you experience a vehicle is not something I want to shove down their throat. I want them to express it, and then I'm going to take it back and play it back to the rest of the masses. That way it will hold greater credibility. And that kind of shaped the way we constructed our grammar for marketing, which is really about real people, real experiences. And when you switch gears and you look at the digital approach, which is really based on 3 planks, owned media, which is essentially our website, our Facebook page, and so on. The earned media, which is third-party places where we actually get good reviews and good feedback. And finally, the paid media, which is which is very self-evident, which is display, search, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to share 2 or 3 examples about how we've used these mantras into actually real-life cases for ourselves. Some worked, some didn't, but I'll share both of them with you. So the first thing that we did was something called the Ford Figo Smart Drive. Figo is kind of has been a game changer for Ford as far as India is concerned. It is the first small car that we brought to the market. It's got great amount of technology in the car. It's got Bluetooth and so on and so forth. What we did was, instead of us creating a commercial or creating an experience on the social media about how people are reacting to our product, we actually gave, way back in October 2010, we actually gave the car away to 4 couples. And this is the second version, what you're seeing on the slide here, but I'll just take a step back and share the first version, which is season 1, as we call it. We took the car, we were the first, one of the first few companies that actually hit 50,000 sales within 6 months of the launch of the car. So we wanted to just go back and say thank you, because it kind of beat all expectations that, between Chennai and Dearborn had about what this product could actually do. So we took a car, we gave it to 4 couples, and these couples were all chosen from the social media space. They had to be very socially active, and they had to represent the target profile of consumers that we were going after. These couples were then given the vehicle. They drove the vehicle from Chandigarh to Chennai, and across each leg that they crossed, they handed over the keys of the car to the next couple, much like a relay. What it did for us was that it created a huge amount of conversations online about the product, and our Facebook fans actually increased by about 50%. Okay, great. But when we went back and introspected, we realized that, sure, we increased the number of fans, but we did not create enough engagement enough engagement with the community itself. So that became one of the cornerstones of creating the season 2, where again we created 4 teams, but they were this time pitted against each other. And as they took the different legs, so they had to cross roughly about 6,400 kilometers, and as they were crossing each leg, they were given missions. For example, the next clue or the next destination will come to you only if you crack this clue. The clue is available to you only if you do something with your Facebook fans, with their community of Facebook fans. That way the engagement kind of became much, much stronger. Can you play the video? Yeah.
Practice this on the ground first, and then when you're on the road, you can try them with the car. When you're on the road, you don't have many opportunities to exercise. You can't hit the gym. So what you can do is use your car to do your basic exercises. We call these car actions.
Right, they create their own, this is the video that they created. And it's brilliant to see the kind of response that it gives you, right? We got about 160,000 impressions. We got 100% increase in terms of the visitors to our website. We saw a 240% increase in the unique visitors to Facebook, 34% increase in Facebook fans, right? This is the one that I really absolutely love, 17,000. That means roughly about 1 in 3 people were actually actively engaged on our Facebook. And that's really what we wanted to achieve, right? 1.2 million impressions, 368% growth. And this is the second metric of engagement, 8,500 plus conversations or comments that were made. 213,000 minutes of video content viewing. This is roughly about, my friends from Mindshare will tell me that this is a couple of crores of worth of free publicity that we got out of this, right? And guess what? It is not just about a one-time spike, but it actually sustained. So we continue to get large number of traction on our social media sites. Example 2, which is what Arun was talking about as I came on, the all-new global Ford Fiesta. When you typically think of a vehicle launch, a car launch, you think of a very large hotel, very much like this, a very large banquet hall, very much like this. You think of a very big stage, probably 3 times the size, and you have a car which rolls on, and lots of smoke, lots of glitter, and the car is launched. We took a slightly contrarian view, And much to the despise of our channel partners, we actually went and revealed the car at a very unconventional place. We did something called the consumer immersion exercise, which I think every brand pretty much does. When you spend a lot of time with the consumers in their houses, with their families, with the office environment that they work in. So we got not just the entire leadership team of Ford, but we also got our agency partners and our dealers to actually spend time with consumers. So an entire day was crafted where different prospects were brought in and people spent time with them in their houses, in their office places. And when we went back to the drawing board and sat down with the agency and we said, the launch cannot be the conventional one, because this consumer who we called Ajay is not someone who frequents the 5-star hotels. He's someone who is very practical and purposeful about his life. So he's more likely to go to a mall on a weekend rather than go to a 5-star hotel. So we actually set up an entire cafe, Fiesta cafe kind of an environment in the Saket Mall right here in Delhi. And in the mall, the press conference that was done actually was done at the mall. It was not done in a 5-star hotel, right? The second thing that was very strong about the product was the technology. It's got technology where it's got voice recognition technology. You say play music and it'll actually play the music. You say change the temperature to 20 degrees, it will change the temperature to 20 degrees. So it's very rich in terms of technology inside the car. And we wanted technology message got understood by each and every, actually reeked. Every touch point that we had with the prospect should reek of technology. So much to the peril of our folks from PR, when we told them that, listen, I don't want to hand out hard copies of press releases and kits. Everyone who walks into that press conference should switch on their Bluetooth phone, and guess what? The entire press kit will get downloaded on their phone, right? 90% of it was achieved. The PR guys still managed to get their way towards the end of it. But I think it was a great start for us at least. I think the third thing that we did was, as marketers or as in automobile industry, the norm is that when you break or when you launch a car, you typically start the print and television within a week of the car being launched. We took a slightly different view. We said we want our organic traffic in the dealerships to continue to build, and that will come at the back of all the PR efforts that we would do and the digital spends. After that was done and it was starting to plateau is when I will bring in the paid media, which is really the print and television. Therefore, the gap between the launch of the vehicle and the television and the print commercials going live was roughly 6 to 8 weeks. Never before in the history of an automobile launch ever had anyone taken a view that we will launch the vehicle first on the digital platform. And we did it. And I think we measure the brand, each of our nameplates, which as we call them, each of our brands are actually measured through a brand track, much like many of you marketers would do. The brand health of the Fiesta continues to go stronger and stronger and stronger, right? So that's one example. What we did essentially and again for the TVC, what we did was much to the peril of our creative guys at the agency, what we did was we took four people who resembled the ethos of what the Ajay, our prospect customer, was. We gave them the vehicle, we said go drive. As they drove from Delhi to Diu, which was about 1400 kilometers, we just kept capturing their experiences with the vehicle. And those experiences were then shared both on the social media sites and as well as on television. That is what formed our television commercial subsequently. I'm going to share one of the videos that was created. Oops. Going to go back? Yeah.
It's just starting to get a little bit sunny. So we're trying to see if I can get the car slightly more comfortable. Temperature.
Temperature, please.
22.
Temperature 22.
That should be nice and comfortable. We'll try this out. Radio.
Radio.
Alright. FM.
FM. Frequency, please.
93.5.
Tune 93.5.
That's more like it. It's more like it's more upbeat. I actually rather like touching the steering wheel and not any buttons. So we've got radio controls for radio or for your music, and then volume controls all built into the steering wheel. The volume is here, so I can adjust that according to my needs. And then you can switch the radio station as well, just to flip right here. And that's quite cool. That's quite a nifty feature.
You know, it kind of brought home a point that it's very difficult, I'll be honest with you. When you go back and actually look at the premise of letting go, for a marketer, the biggest high is when you control the message, you control the medium, you actually control the way you want the consumer to experience. So after you have my chips, this is what you should be saying, is typically how a marketer looks at it, right? But when you go back and actually, and when a medium like this comes along, which is the reality television, social media, and internet coming along, it's extremely difficult for us as marketers. And I can tell you for myself, very, very difficult when you have to create something which does not have a script, right? When you create a video or you create a TVC which does not have a script, extremely difficult. But that's really, I think, that's where you got to go out and actually get the right partners, and thankfully we did. In GTF. So what happened out of all the social media conversations? And if I go back to the point that there is a lot of cynicism about manufacturer speak, we actually had people talking to each other on the platforms that we had created about how good the car was. It wasn't Ford which was saying this is a great car, it's actually people, real people, who were communicating how great the vehicle was. And that has far more credibility than any other speak that we could have done ourselves. The other thing which I want to leave you with is the mobile, the tremendous amount of work that the team has been doing on the mobile front. What we did was every single touch point on the mobile platform of the consumer, and this came out again from the consumer insights that we had, that this is a person who uses his mobile phone very, very actively. And right from advertising, search, site, or even print ad integration, everything had mobile into that. I think what was phenomenal was the fact that we did something called location-based advertising, which is when you are within 5-kilometer radius of our dealership, the ad would pop up. And what we also did was you could actually call the dealer while you are on the move. We got roughly about 600 odd calls into our dealerships out of just this one activity. 700,000 impressions, but what's remarkable is the interaction rate. 71% interaction rate on the mobile phones. That means out of the 100 ads I served, 71 of them actually played around with the HTML5 ads that we had created. Brilliant stuff. What we also did was, we were probably one of the first company to do live stream of the press conference of the reveal of the car at the launch. And we got about 80,000 odd people watching the live stream of the launch of the car. And if people tell you that it can only impact the brand, not really. 60% of our sales leads actually came from digital, which is remarkable. Finally, I'll leave you with two thoughts. One is the preview of the Ford EcoSport. This is a vehicle which is India's first urban SUV, which is going to hit the stands very, very soon. This vehicle was going to be launched was to be previewed. It's a global product. It's going to be was previewed at the Auto Expo, which concluded in January. One of the things that we did was actually steal an idea. Okay, we actually stole an idea from Coca-Cola. Coke used something called the RFID technology in some of their campaigns. And it's a very retail, if you think of RFID, it's largely a supply chain kind of a solution. We took the same RFID tag and we said every single individual who walks in or registers on my site will be given an RFID tag. Once he wears the RFID tag, the readers are placed all over the stand. Depending on what he likes at the stand, he can go and swipe the RFID tag, and a message actually goes on their Facebook page of what they liked about the Ford vehicle. That way we ensured that there was a lot of reach and message that went out to a larger base of people. We got about 2,500 check-ins, 3,500 comments. 25% of the fans were talking about Ford at any given point of time, which is remarkable, 1 out of 4. So when you say that I have lots of fans, but guess what, they don't do much, here's an example of how people were actually engaged into it. The other thing we did was, when you go to an auto show, you typically get tons of goodies, right? You get plastic bags, you get thumb drives, you get all kinds of giveaways. We said we will not do any of that. There will be no giveaways at the Ford stand. When people, it's not just cost effective, but it also ensures that we were able to drive home the point of our technology story. We created an app called Drive Smart app. It actually gave people information of the nearest ATM, coffee shops, restaurants, Ford service outlets. It also spoke about where are the weekend getaways that they can go to, right? And every time you walked into the Ford stand, all you needed to do was switch on your Bluetooth and you could actually download the app. Here's the data that tells you how the app did. We got 40% of the people who actually downloaded this are today using it 3 times a week. We were just having a conversation outside. Viral and all of us were talking and we said, hey, do people really go back and use the same thing that they've used in the past? But here's an example of the fact that people are using it very, very frequently. So what's the result? We saw a 15% increase in our sales versus an industry growth of about 8%. 11% increase in what we call favorable opinion as it is measured in our brand tracks. And finally, 80% increase in willingness to recommend the brand. I mean, never have we seen such a huge jump in the willingness to recommend the brand. So my few things for you to think about is think integrated campaigns. Adopt this new language, because whether we like it or not, the message or the medium is actually being taken over by the consumers. And measure, measure, measure. I think your platform, the digital platform, really allows you to do that. So let's make sure we do more and more of that. Thank you.
So firstly, I want to congratulate you for trying something very different that many brands have not done. Viral in his presentation actually mentioned the consumer buying behavior and the funnel and how it's changing. We talked about it earlier. And I think that varies for each product, each brand, each category. But in the context of cars, let's say, people may see an ad on TV. They may then go read a review online. They may hear recommendations from their friends online. Then they may see an ad in the paper. They may call a dealer. They may book a test drive online and then finally buy offline, right? I mean, not necessarily in the same sequence, but it could be in any which way, right? So in that context, I mean, I want to ask you, are we even justified really to think about my brand message and then think about traditionally the way we have done, what's the right media plan to reach my consumers? Or actually, should we be thinking about the media strategy first, trying to figure out where to catch the consumers first, and then think about the brand message in that context?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? I mean, which side do you which side do you approach it from? The way we actually look at it is you have to start from the context of the consumer. The reason we did, and then bring in the brand message in a relevant context. So the context is extremely important. So I'll give you an example. When I said that the Fiesta launch actually happened in a mall, it emerged from the context that the consumer does not visit a 5-star hotel to actually engage. If you want to create an experience for the individual, it has to be done in the context of the consumer. And therefore, the media plan should be a derivative of that context, rather than, let's figure out the media plan and then go and figure out what the message will be. So the context is extremely important, and within that, you got to fit in the brand message.
Okay.
Short answer, but I hope it gives you some.
Yeah, I think because while I kind of, like I said, I really love the fact that you've used this medium so efficiently. But, if I may fairly criticize, I mean, is that still an isolated way to look at digital as a medium to reach, whereas the way your consumers are thinking about buying could be offline, online, kind of switching between the two, right?
Yeah, they are. I mean, and quite honestly, that's precisely the reason why all the 3 elements have to sync together, which is earned, owned, and paid. And by paid, I don't mean digital only, and this should apply to irrespective of which medium. And as a consolidated marketing plan, it's got to talk to earned, paid, and owned at the same time. Because like you said, the consumers are skipping through some of the buying process. So when you're creating at least what we do from a Ford standpoint is when we sit down and look at a marketing plan, we always ask the question of what's going to happen on the earned platforms, not just digitally, but also from the traditional mediums, earned, owned, and paid, have all got to sing together for it to work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anurag.